DJ LeRoy.
NightWatchman, how you doing, buddy?
Good. How are you?
Good, man. You know, we're deep into the month of March, Women's History Month, man.
Absolutely.
So we've had some interesting shows, man. We'll have another one this evening as well. What do you think?
Right. Well, we are continuing our salute to women entrepreneurs.
Love it. And also, let's be clear, women entrepreneurs also, just like male entrepreneurs, technical assistance, advice, and service to make sure that their businesses not only begin, but are sustained and they grow. So I want to know how that's done. What do you think?
I want to know as well.
Well, see your curiosity. I love it. I love it. Well, why don't we bring out one of the youngest ones to enter the fold, and that is none other than Vanee Brown. Bring her out.
All right.
Welcome. Hey,
welcome to Soul Lounge Primetime.
Hey, good evening, everybody. How you doing?
Good.
Great.
So that Vanee, where are you? You're in Florida, I hear?
Yes, not too far from Miami. Very warm here, very nice.
You know what, NightWatchman, I would love to trade places with her. You know this, right?
Yeah, I'm going to Miami in about a month.
Oh, nice.
I'm gonna give you fair warning. My nephew is graduating from University of Miami, so make an appearance. Yep.
Hurricanes. Okay.
That's right.
I love it. Well. Okay. I thought maybe you were going there just to challenge Ron DeSantis, but no, huh? Not this time. I got you.
That's too crazy for me.
Well, we're definitely be going around.
But I will bring some books with me. Okay.
You cannot make this up.
That's right.
Okay. Well, why don't we also bring out another, because we're staying right here with Nifty for a minute. Let's bring out Elizabeth Kim. Right.
All right.
Hey,
welcome.
Elizabeth.
Hey, everyone.
All right.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Now, normally you're there in the Virginia area, but you're taking a little respite, a little trip there to Florida. Very nice.
Yep.
Nice.
It's that time. Spring break.
Right.
Definitely.
Got a little vacation time.
However, though, I can tell you, Elizabeth, when I went there one time with my wife on a cruise, I will never, ever hang out in Florida or in Miami around spring break. They're too young, too active.
Oh, yeah, it gets crazy.
Lord. Well, you know what, NightWatchman? Why don't we also bring out a veteran of Soul Lounge Primetime, and that is Miss Dina Towbin. Bring her out.
Welcome.
Thank you. So nice to see you guys again and the other wonderful women on the call.
Absolutely. And first of all, Dina, you, the prodigal daughter, welcome back to New York City.
Thank you so much. It's great to be back. I'm loving living in New York City again. It's such a great place.
Oh man. So ladies, let's get this popping. First of all, I have to know, and Vanee, you're gonna start us off in terms of the resources and services, and how did you discover Nifty? And also speak about that particular acronym. What does Nifty stand for?
The Network for Teaching Entrepreneurship. And I have to say, for me, I came across Nifty in 2018. I went to school at a magnet school that specialized in my passion, but they also had entrepreneurship. And for reference, I had no idea what I was going to do after high school. So when I came across the Nifty program in the classroom, I was able to learn what it meant to possibly become an entrepreneur. And I was supported by so many Nifty staff and given that empowerment to take my ideas and my dreams to that next level. So that's what
And well, do tell, what was your passion, or what the particular business and or service that you wanted to do?
So that's a great question. You know, initially my mom had her own aspirations, and she's an entrepreneur within her own right.
Nice.
And she had this idea to take an idea, any idea that a customer can think of, and turn that into a themed party. So we actually did that in real life for several years. But my passion was music. That's what I was in high school for music.
Okay.
And so I literally switched my business plan mid-competition, and everybody was like, Vanee, what are you doing? I was like, this is my mom's dream. If I'm going to do this and win this, I have to do it my way. So I switched from a party planning business to a record label. And that actually went very far in the competition.
Okay, we're definitely going to get back to that, because I know that talking about the record industry, it has definitely morphed and changed significantly. So you're going to tell me about, some of the changes that you've been able to observe. On that particular note, Elizabeth, tell us about your journey, and also noting that you're a relatively newbie there at NFTE.
Yeah. I joined NFTE probably June of last year. So not yet a year, but coming up to it. And I've been in the education kind of nonprofit space for pretty much my entire career. And that's been just a passion of mine, is, supporting young people, especially through education and employment, because, education needs to kind of also employ to sustainability and livability afterwards. So that's always been kind of a thread in my career, and came across NFTE. I was actually looking for a remote job because we spoke earlier, but my husband's in the military, and I knew I was going to be moving around a lot. So that was a big factor. And that is to a lot of people these days, I'm sure. But also, aligned really well with my mission, personal values. And so, I'm happy to have joined the NFTE team.
And do tell me about your position as director of research and analytics. Tell me about that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So, I was a school teacher before, and then I kind of shifted into research mid-career because I really wanted to support kind of a wider range of policy and practices, not just the classroom. Obviously, that's extremely valuable as well. But really switched over to data and research. And that's what I do at NFTE right now, is supporting data collection. Whenever you see surveys coming to you to gather information or figure out what our progress is on kind of our key metrics, that's what our team does, and supports kind of that research to help improve our programs and make sure we're doing what we're saying we're doing. So that's the big part of my job.
Beautiful. And of course, veteran Dina, Towbin, you've been literally in the space in terms of providing sources and services for the entrepreneur class. And specifically, because I know you have a certification in women entrepreneurs. So you have to tell me about that, and how long have you been in the space in terms of assisting small business, women-owned businesses?
All right, thank you for those questions. I will do my best to answer them. So I am a woman. I am a woman entrepreneur, and have been a woman entrepreneur for more than 30 years. So I have my own company, Dina, Towbin and Associates. We're a marketing consulting firm, and we work a lot with U.S. government contractors to help them with proposals, editorial, and graphic design services. And for about 7 years, I've been doing marketing webinars for small businesses. So I've worked through existing small business organizations. I used to be based in the DC area, so I worked with the DC Small Business Development Center. I worked with Pacific Community Ventures out in California. George Washington University Alumni Association. So, and I wrote an ebook on marketing for challenging times.
Yes.
And so I think, and I've been in a lot of groups of women entrepreneurs, and I think, we do best when we help each other and work. There's a lot of leveraging you can do as an entrepreneur to boost your business and partner's business also. So I think working together, we can really, support each other, and everyone does better that way.
Absolutely. You know what? One of the things certainly we do remember, and tell me, Vanee, I know you've heard this. You've seen the film, of course, Jerry Maguire, right? And one of the things that we often hear, show me the money. Okay. So is that the only challenge, or tell me some of the challenges that you faced in your journey to sustain and grow your business?
That's such an interesting question, because I'm such a newbie in terms of I would say taking the steps to be an entrepreneur, which means taking a brand, your idea, turning it into a brand, and then trying to get the end goal, which is profit, in my opinion. And that has been the most challenging journey. My business right now is an entertainment media company, broadcasting content similar to the platform we're on right now. And the biggest thing is not profit, but awareness, and making sure that people know what your brand is and they respect the brand and they want to see more from the brand. And building the buzz around the brand for me has been a very tough thing.
One of the things we have, and certainly during lockdown, there's been so much content, out there, from Netflix to Amazon Prime, you name it. So recently, of course, we have this particular, I guess this is a limited series, and it's talking about, of course, Nike, the founding of Nike, or how a shoe saved them. Now, and that, if you talk about branding 101, that certainly is it. I mean, any thoughts about, let's say, getting your name out there, your product out there, and taking ownership of it? Is that the key to business success or growing your business? Anyone weigh in on that? Elizabeth?
Yeah.
No one can tell which one you're pointing at.
I know. Okay, fine. Elizabeth, would you take that question?
Sorry, can you say that again? Marketing? I kind of lost it towards the end, connection-wise. Go ahead.
No worries. So we were talking about, let's say, the founding of Nike, how literally a shoe, Michael Jordan, that superstar, was able to actually really brand it in such a way. And this is before we knew what branding was all about. Tell me about, let's say, what you've been able to observe in terms of how business is done now.
Yeah, I think branding is obviously a huge part, and it's so interesting. I feel like it's definitely morphing right these days with the new generation. I feel a lot older saying this now, but personal brands are so important, right? On social media, like you can make some decent money just having your own unique angle or brand or sense of humor on even just on social media platforms. So I feel like that the need for a personal brand and a kind of a unique perspective is even more heightened right now that we have so many options to kind of display ourselves. So yeah, absolutely, branding. And no matter how rich content you have, if you don't have a strong identity, I think it's really hard to stand out in this kind of economy. So
totally,
yeah, absolutely. It's a huge.
Gotcha. Dina, you got to tell, because you marketing, promoting, branding, that's you.
Yeah. Well, I would say that in marketing, I mean, depends who you're marketing to, but I think, I mean, obviously branding and, is a big thing. And everyone says you should have your own brand and brand yourself. And so it is important, but I think the quality of your work, I mean, when you're doing a service or a product that you need to stand behind, you have to have that quality, you have to have the customer care component to it. So it's not enough to just have that brand, but you have to have the strength and the quality behind it to support it, or else people want their money back. You're not providing that. So.
Gotcha. NightWatchman, because I know that you or I believe you still are doing your entrepreneurial journey.
Oh, absolutely, yes. So as far as marketing, everything has changed now with social media, and everybody has the tools, but everybody is also using it. So a lot of it is, as they said, about bringing attention, but it's also about people talk about product market fit, and what that means is really about knowing your customer and not trying to market to the entire world, but market to your customers specifically. And so if you can micro target in this age and find your tribe, so to speak, and get your brand exposed within that group, it doesn't have to be millions of people. It can be a small group that can sustain you as an entrepreneur. And because everything is online now, that group doesn't have to be people that are in a walking or driving distance to you. They can be anywhere as long as there's a shared experience in your customer group.
Oh, well, thank you for that, Night Watchman. You know,
Yes.
I did
Right,
indeed.
right.
So one of the things, Vanee, I certainly did hear from Dina in terms of the quality of your particular product and or service is vastly important. But can I have a great product and or service and not necessarily have traffic coming to me? Is having a social media presence a very, very important thing?
It depends on what your product or service is. I would say in the case of me and in my company, we do it for us. It social media presence is key. Now we do have a very local presence. People know us for particular things because aside from just providing content, we want to connect and create a community. So we throw in-person events which people find memorable, and I think that's also a key. Everybody on this panel gave great insight to branding and marketing. I also would add on to that being different, so different that people can't ignore the brand that you're creating. I think it stems from a story, and we do have that, but it's just really playing on that story and giving people something to relate to and to connect to.
Gotcha. Well, certainly, Elizabeth, with research and analytics, I need to know some of the, let's say, key things that you, in your particular position, that you've been able to observe about, let's say, women entrepreneurs. Why, why are their numbers so low in terms of their actual, let's say, numbers, but also in terms of the profit margins that they're able to actually generate in their space? Is it because of gender or something else that you've been able to observe? Liz?
Sorry, can you repeat that question? My internet's a little bit,
a little
bit uncooperative today.
As we said, our new normal. No worries. So
I know. I'm sorry about that.
That's all right. So in terms of the position that you hold there with Nifty, in terms of research and analytics, tell me some of the key factors or determinants that you've been able to observe as it relates to women entrepreneurs. Why are their numbers so lagging behind, let's say, men? But also in terms of what are some of the key things that are major challenges that they may encounter, but men don't?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Thanks. Thanks for that question. Yeah, so we talk a little bit about this in a research brief we published recently. It's on our website as well if you're ever interested. But, you know, the research has really emphasized a number of things, one of them being kind of lower self-efficacy, lower self-confidence, a larger fear of failure among some of the psychological kind of reasons for the lower rate of women entering into entrepreneurship, you know, and there's always that kind of related stereotype or that social role that people see as an entrepreneur being kind of more male dominated, being confident, having all these kind of features that tend to be a little bit more masculine. And so women have a hard time kind of sometimes identifying with those characteristics. And so, I'm not an entrepreneur. I don't have those kinds of bravado or, you know, that kind of confidence or whatnot. So that's a huge part of why people don't even think about going into entrepreneurship among women. And then another big thing that we find is mentorship, right? So kind of related to that is if you don't know anyone around you who has kind of gone that path. Vanee had her mom up, so that's great. So she knows it's possible and maybe she has some tips and tricks. But for a lot of women, they might not have people who look like them or who have those similar experiences who can kind of coach them along the way. And it's very daunting if you don't have that precedent before you. And then just the last thing I'll highlight also is resources. So women tend to have a little bit lower, in some cases, financial literacy, or might not know how to approach a bank, or not have the assets to be able to put down payments or payments that you need to even start a business. So the finance aspect of it also is a big deterrent as well. And I know we'll talk about, you know, women and the household role as well, but, you know, that's a big dynamic as well. Women as, you know, the kind of homemaker and what that kind of means for entrepreneurship as well. So that's a bit of a trickier conversation, but yeah.
Now, Liz, do you also see a trend of women who are in the workforce who decide that they now want to transition into an entrepreneurial role, and how do you support them? Should I repeat that?
Sorry, you're gonna have to repeat that again. I'm sorry.
No worries.
So, Liz, what I was asking is,
sorry, you're gonna have to repeat that again. It got warbled towards the end.
Oh, gotcha.
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
So Liz, I was asking about women who are in the workforce right now who have hit their head on the glass ceiling and decide they don't want to do that anymore, and looking at entrepreneurism as a way that they can have a better work-life balance and control their time and their destiny. So do you see that trend, and how does Nifty support people like that who are basically entering the entrepreneurial space?
Okay, I think I kind of heard it. It was kind of like home life balance. Is that kind of the question mainly?
Yeah, it was about women leaving the workforce and entering entrepreneurship. And have you seen that trend, and how does Nifty support that?
Yeah, so it's a little bit tricky. So I think with the pandemic in particular, there's research that says that women started 49% of new businesses in the US in 2021, and that's compared to 28% in 2019. So it's a pretty big jump, right, in terms of women entering the entrepreneurial space, right? And a lot of people say that's this dramatic increase is from, people seizing the pandemic-related opportunities. Oh, this is my chance now that I have some time. I don't have to be at work physically, that I can, really flourish my side business or whatever I had in mind. So I think we did see a lot of entry into the workforce, but on the flip side, also there's also research and studies that show that women entrepreneurial businesses are the first to go also. So in the pandemic, those were the ones to also start to fade away quickly because women tended to be in those sectors that were more hard hit, like hospitality or kind of entertainment and things like that. So it's kind of like a double-edged sword. Opportunity for people to enter, but also was so unstable that a lot of the businesses also weren't sustained as well. So at Nifty, we really try, and I think our tagline is to ignite the entrepreneurial mindset. So one of the things that I had mentioned earlier was, self-efficacy and that confidence, that psychosocial condition is really one of the things that deters a lot of women from entering into entrepreneurship. And one of the main things that Nifty helps with, and our research has shown, is that we really help to build up that confidence, build up that self-efficacy, connect young people with mentors that look like them, that have gone through similar work experiences or life experiences, so that they have the tools and the knowledge to pursue entrepreneurship if they so choose. So I hope with that, young people to do, like Vanee, see entrepreneurship as a viable option as well, maybe where they didn't before. But I think the challenge will also be, how do we help them not only just get interested in entrepreneurship and maybe start, but how do we help them to sustain and really make it something that is a career and not just a quick side gig or,
Gotcha.
Temporary.
Good. So now, Dina, same question in terms of the challenges that face women, not necessarily men on the same level. Because remember that whole, and Elizabeth, thank you for that whole home work environment. Balancing that. Men don't even sometimes think about that bad boy. They'll say, yeah, the woman, she's got that. She'll take care of the kids, the food, all that particular stuff. So, Dina, is that some of the things that you also observe in your work?
Yes, I think, thanks, Liz and Vanee, for your insights. And I think that women not only face, challenges at home, and, it's not even balancing. It's like they say, there is no balance. It's just, time for this, time for that, and, scheduling time for yourself, and that women, I think, only get something like 2% of venture capital funds.
Wow.
2%. So that means 98% are going to male, and I would bet it's mostly white male. Taking a guess there. But so women of color, so they're all, you know, they don't have those resources to jump on and those connections. And so I think there's this myriad of factors that, you know, resources, the knowledge of what to do, and how to work it out at home, and it's taking a huge risk on yourself. You know, can I do this? Can I sustain it? Do I have enough funds to keep going? Because often it takes, you know, 3 months to a year to really make income in a new business. So there are a lot of groups now who are addressing this. Sounds like Nifty is one of them, which is great. There's I was involved recently with, or still am with, NASDAQ has these milestone circle groups that help women to set like short-term goals for themselves, and they provide a lot of resources, webinars, a lot of training, ongoing training, and support, and you have an accountability partner. So I think having that support circle really can help women to succeed, and as Liz said, to sustain a small business, which takes a lot of time and effort and resources. And you do need, not only you need your family support. I mean, if your significant other or family circle is not supporting you, it's going to be very, very difficult for you. So to have those resources to count on and to go to, you know, I'm having this problem, what do I do about, you know, where can I find this? So to have those networks available is really can be life-saving for you.
Excellent. Oh boy. So Vanee, I guess one of the things, you know what, I'm thinking about one of the most famous African-American record companies on the planet, of course, Motown. You know, it started a lot of careers. Some of the artists are legendary, iconic, whatnot. It's a different landscape, a different playing field now. I mean, I cannot remember the last time I bought a CD. Who buys those anymore? Okay, so tell me, what is making your record company unique
right now? And that's still grassroots. I think that what we're doing right now is identifying our competition, and this is something that Nifty tells us to do: is do market research on not only our target audience but our competition.
Yes.
And we're going to be completely different than them. We also I also understand as an artist, it's not just about the music anymore. It's about the way that you make people feel when they connect to you. So who am I being as Vanee, not just the artist, but as the person that people would want to look up to and be inspired by, and dive into other parts of not just Vanee and her music, but her life in a sense. So the record label and the entertainment company almost work hand in hand to put not just myself, but other people a part of that record label and entertainment media company on that platform that people can relate to.
So we're talking streaming. The content is streaming, completely. And let's say, how do you also discover, so let's say, some new talent? How do you do that?
New talent. That's interesting. So what I've been doing for the past year, past COVID, is going to different events and just seeing who's performing, shaking their hands, getting to know them. And you never know what there's such a great power in networking. Shout out to Nifty Network. So there's such a great value in networking and meeting people, because you never know where that'll take you. I also do want to add on to what both Dina and Liz were saying in terms of I think young women in particular who don't necessarily have all the facets and tools to be an entrepreneur. The way that Nifty impacted my life, I wanted to be a part of what Nifty was doing long term, because I wanted to share and spread in that knowledge and impact students the way I was impacted as a student. So I definitely think that Nifty is taking those strides to impact youth and entrepreneurship in general.
Right. Nice. NightWatchman. When we were actually doing the show early on, remember how we would always sometimes receive these CDs from folks or whatever to play. So now it's going to be interesting. Getting that particular content is it's all going to be streaming, huh?
No, not necessarily. There's actually been a trend back toward physical sales of audio content. In the last year, I think the physical sales of content has actually come to represent a significant part. So there, things go in waves and cycles, and sometimes they cycle back. There is some evidence showing that people like to have a physical copy of their media.
Oh, so you're almost saying like books too. I have to hold the book. And the heck with audio books, right? I want the physical book.
Well,
right?
Today's consumer likes choice. And so now you have choice. And so I have physical books and you have physical books, but I have a Kindle account. And, when I want to read the book right now, like I'll see a link. Right now I'm reading a book called Survival of the Richest by Douglas Rushkoff. And I saw an article about it and I wanted it right now. And so I just got it and downloaded it. And that's the great benefit of choice. But sometimes we like to just put a book in the bag and take it to the beach and not have to worry about the battery running out before you get to the end of it. So
very good, very good. So Liz, I'm hearing what NightWatchman has just said in terms of, let's say, choice. Is that one of the key determinants of, let's say, the product and or service that an entrepreneur is putting out there, giving the consumer the choice? Uh-oh, Liz, did you hear me? Or
Yeah.
Okay, good.
So the question was around choice.
Is that what we're seeing in terms of the consumers? That's what they want from either their product and or service?
Yeah, I think choice is a big one for sure. I think. Yeah, I mean, yes, choice is a big one. I think a lot of the times right now, the trend also, and others can correct me if I'm wrong, but is also kind of like the ethics behind what the quality and kind of the ethics behind products is also a big determinant. So people are willing to shell out more. It used to be just like cheap, whatever's whatever's the cheapest, let's get it. And there's obviously that market as well, but at least I'm seeing a bigger trend in kind of small. Cutting out the middlemen. We're eco-friendly. We're really high quality, a little bit more expensive, but so the people can gravitating more towards that as well. Or people going through vintage stuff as well. High quality, but sustainable. Fashion is a big these days as well. So in addition to choice, kind of just that quality and the ethics behind purchasing as well, I think is a big factor right now.
Gotcha. And I guess, what I'll say, Dina, hearing what Liz said, so socially conscious entrepreneurs, have you seen a real uptick in that space?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yes. And I myself am responding to like products that, say ethically sourced and, if it's, compostable or recyclable or something that you're not harming the environment. So I think that's definitely a big thing, and the whole cancel culture that sort of people. I'm sure Vanee asked. You have to be very careful about what you say on social media and how you respond to anything, and you're sort of in the hot seat all the time. So I think those are all important factors, but I think I'm going to go back to quality also.
Yes.
Your product has to stand the some test of time, and reviews. You see everybody reviewing things, and like restaurants, people go immediately to see what
Yes.
My nephew is like, I won't go in any restaurant that's not like 4.8 or higher. So those those can be manipulated. You get your friends to
yes.
So it's not as transparent as it seems, but those are all important factors.
Gotcha. Certainly, NightWatchman, I see you poised for something. What are you about to say?
Well, I wanted to ask all of them, how do you stay abreast of trends? You know, it's so important to keep track of where things are going. What are the sources of information that you use to keep you abreast of what's going on in your particular industry focus?
Vanee, start out.
Yeah, I like to diversify my circle and people from all walks of life that keep their ear to the streets on different things that are going on, whether that be social injustice or finance or tech. I like to keep my crew diversified so that I can get all of that those different pieces of information. Also, it's important to just keep up with the news. Obviously, I don't get too deeply involved into it because it can then be a jury thing because there's always something going on. But I think it also helps to indulge in certain podcasts in particular topics. I also like to read. I prefer audiobooks though.
Me too. Yay.
I'll make sure that battery's charged. But yeah, just listening and watching all the time is what I like to do.
Absolutely. Liz, how about you?
Sure. I think especially in terms of like research and analytics, what's kind of new and what's upcoming is not always from academia, unfortunately, right? Like peer-reviewed journals are rich in content and high quality, but they take a long time to publish. So what was trendy at that point of writing might not get published until like 2 years later or whatnot, right? So for research in particular, and anyone in that kind of space, academia and kind of those peer-reviewed journals are a good source just to get a pulse on the general kind of trend of things. But obviously the news media is a huge, especially in education and whatnot, huge window into what people are talking about and what's important. So that we use a lot of that and work with a lot with our media team to figure out, what ChatGPT or what are the trendy things, but also what are the things that are actually important that are coming up. And I think the biggest source for us and for me is to talk to our beneficiaries. We have a lot of subject matter expertise within NFTE, but also within our students as well. And so we try to, at least from the research team, try to do site visits, interviews with students, interviews with our partners. So we're not just in our own land, kind of writing our own curriculum, doing our own tests, according to what other people say, but really trying to have an ear pressed also to the ground in our programs and our students in schools as well. So that's a huge part of how we try to stay current and be responsive to the needs of what the field needs.
And I got to say, Liz, that one of the things that I have absolutely observed is that in terms of getting young people, certainly we observed during the lockdown, this remote learning space. Have you found that to be more than challenging to address?
Oh yeah, big time. I think the pandemic was kind of like a let's not talk about what happened during the pandemic in a way. No, I mean, I say that in jest, but it was a huge shift, right? For teachers in particular, for students, we saw a huge drop in student engagement, right? People just showed up to class. Just showing up to virtual class in itself was like a win for the day, right? Them actually turning in work or staying on for the entire class is a struggle as well, right? So saw a huge drop in student engagement. And you see a lot of the news as well around teacher burnout, right? Because they're having to adjust to this new technology and new type of learning while also trying to create new content and help with students who are struggling psychologically throughout this time as well. So I think that virtual learning was really challenging for both teachers and students, but I think it's also opened up a lot of opportunities right now. Like we spoke earlier, it's probably difficult to expect the student to learn the same way 100% virtually, but now we can kind of take the best of what we learned from that virtual learning, maybe supplementing or doing some kind of, hybrid kind of model to augment student learning the best. So while the COVID pandemic really tested the waters for a lot of educators, I think we're better positioned now to really, again, take the best of what we learned from virtual learning and implement it with our
gotcha. And do tell me, Dina, in terms of your journey, your career, a lot of your particular, let's say, imparting of wisdom and knowledge was in person. So
well, yes,
or not?
No,
Okay.
it's more webinar. Even pre-COVID, it was a lot of webinars, just because you have a bigger reach. Like, and if you're with a national group, obviously, people all can't attend. So, but I mean, from a business perspective, there are pluses and minuses to, webinars. I mean, it's nice to have that bigger reach, bigger audience potentially, and, lower costs. People don't have to pay to travel and stay somewhere and all that, which saves a lot of money, especially if you're an entrepreneur. Yeah. But you do, the personal touch of being in the same room with someone is not this, that's unique. And we're missing that. And I think now people are going back to networking. I know everyone's a little trepidatious about, being up close with everyone and, who's going to show up and how do I talk to them again? Because you've kind of forgotten that kind of conversation. So there's another learning curve there. So, but I think, and I don't know about others, but during especially the early days of COVID, when you're kind of bombarded with webinars and educational opportunities and you wanted to take advantage of them, and then you have to be more judicious about, well, what's really helpful to me and what's important, what can help me in my business. And I love what Vanee said about the having this diverse group of people to get information from. I think that's really important, and often we tend to be in like our bubble, so it's important to get information. And I also, what you said about researching your competition, like I subscribe to my one of my competitors blog, so I feed on LinkedIn so I can see what she's doing and think like, okay, what can I do that's better, different or whatever. So, and sometimes, it's an opportunity to work with them, with your competition. It doesn't always have to be adversarial.
Yes, that is so true, Dina. And Vanee, just for full disclosure, I love audiobooks. And then 2, I'm also married to a voiceover actress. Okay, so there you go. So maybe that's why I love it.
So see, helping yourself. Absolutely nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. I wanted to ask Vanee and the others as well to talk about mentorship, because we talked early on about how mentorship is one of the factors that can help women entrepreneurs and all entrepreneurs be more successful. So I'd like you guys to share experiences either in mentoring or in being mentored. What, a peak experience that you may have had.
Vanee, kick us off.
Sounds good. And I'll speak about both because I've had experiences being the mentor or being mentored. So, I got my first mentor through the NFTE program. And before that, there wasn't really many people that saw my vision the way I visioned where my life would go. And I honestly didn't know. So getting to meet somebody in the industry who was a filmmaker and a music video director, very much so correlated to what my path was leaning towards. He understood my obstacles. He understood my journey and gave me valuable feedback on how to take the next couple of steps. For instance, I was so focused on the business side of things, but my mentor sat me down and was like, wait, what about the content? There's nothing to market to people if you don't have your content together. So just little things like that allowed me to, one, trust people within that field because my mentor empowered me to do that. And also to believe in myself and take those next steps. Now, that feeling that I got, like I stated earlier, I want other people in youth entrepreneurship to feel that. So I'm a powerhouse and a cheerleader for anything that somebody's passionate about. So I've gotten the opportunity to work with students that have business ideas, and I might not know about their field, but I'm like, okay, let's sit down and research it and see what we could come up with and brainstorm different things that we can do. And I was even a coach for a NFTE competition, and my were able to win it, honestly.
Wow.
All right.
Yes.
I don't even think all the time it's about having all the information together, but if we just get together and believe, there's so much magic that can happen. So the power of mentorship is important for women at any level of entrepreneurship that are thinking about taking that next step, but anybody in general that just needs that push. Mentorship is powerful.
Beautiful. Elizabeth, tell us about it.
Yeah, that's interesting. You highlighted mentorship because when we did our alumni survey a few years ago, that was actually one of the big key findings that we found was mentorship, and that volunteer experience was kind of one big component of Nifty's what we call secret sauce, right? So really what makes it really effective is, and what alumni keep coming back to us, like Vanee, is that, that volunteer interaction with someone in the industry who looks like me, or maybe who has gone through a similar path, was so invaluable. So I think, mentorship is, I can't state how many, can't state enough how important we've seen it personally. I've seen it personally and with our students as well. So personally, I think, I was at a place where I felt like I was at a ceiling in my career. I wanted to take the next level in leadership, but I didn't really know how. And I had a mentor at the time within my organization who was really real with me. And I think that's what I really appreciated. A lot of times when you get like performance reviews, or at least in my case, it was all very general, like, oh, you're doing a great job, but this mentor was very real with me in terms of, hey, these are your real weaknesses. And if you want to get to the next level in your career and you want to become a leader, here are some of the things that I recommend. And especially being a woman and also Asian, we have that kind of cultural kind of difference with the corporate world. And there's a lot of research around like the bamboo ceiling is what we call it, where Asian females in particular can't rise up the corporate ladder. There's just a ceiling, and they can't really get up to a certain level because of some of the cultural norms as well. And he was really aware of that as well, and really coached me and mentored me in terms of like, hey, here are the resources that you need. You need to find a supervisee. You need to build your supervisory experience, whatever way you can. Get an intern, even if it's not paid. Get something under your belt. Read these leadership books. We can talk about it. Block off some time for innovation, because that's another one that you need to really work on. So he was really good about pointing out some of the kind of key areas of weakness I needed to work on, and really pointing me to concrete resources and tips to help me build my career. So I was really appreciative of that. He was also, a male of color, and also went through similar kind of barriers in his own career as well. So I was really appreciative of that advice. So I hope others can also benefit from a mentor like that.
Beautiful. And that's, I guess, one of the things, Elizabeth, that I'm definitely hearing from you is that having a mentor who looks and may have the same life experience is so valuable, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. That's why there's a lot of push right in the classrooms as well for a lot of male teachers, right? Because a lot of it tends to be women too, but we, sometimes it helps also to have for like a male role model in the classroom as well. So it goes both ways, right? But you need representation everywhere.
That's important. Absolutely. And Dina, would you also agree that representation is important? And in your experience, have you had both male and female mentors and mentees?
Yes, I think representation everywhere is important. We need to be more diverse. We need more diverse leadership everywhere. And I think I've had, looking back, mentors. I've had many mentors over like the past 10 years. The best one I had for my business personally was put a shout out to Charles Mott at the DC Small Business Development Center for Howard University. He does not look like me, and he's not female. So, but he was the most knowledgeable and the most helpful, and connected me with other people in his organization to help what I was trying to do, which was look in the federal marketplace. So he was extremely helpful, and we continue to be in touch. Beautiful. But I think I think it's important. I do a lot of mentorship myself. I've actually went back to Stuyvesant before
Oh, wow.
and gave a class on entrepreneurship to it was a law class. I've worked with GW students, my alma mater for grad school, mentoring them, and I was visiting professor, I don't know what you call it, visiting speaker at Catholic University talking on entrepreneurship. So I think a lot of young people don't really know what it means, what it is, what does it take. They may have parents, especially if they're immigrant parents, may be already, entrepreneurs, have started their own business, but they may not, entrepreneurship today is very different than it was, the last generation. And it's much more, digital, dynamic, fast moving. So there's a lot to be learned, and it's you constantly have to keep learning. That's what I love about entrepreneurship, is that you do have to keep abreast of what's going on in whatever industry you're in. What are the changes and trends, and how to, to keep up with an industry is challenging all the time. And sometimes you feel like I'm just hanging on by my fingertips. and then I have like because I've been doing it for so long that, my clients are already like aged out, you constantly have to have a younger group of clients that you connect with, and you have to be able to talk to them and be helpful to them and provide a service or product that they're interested in. So it's a very dynamic relationship, and but I think mentorship is key, and you're spreading knowledge and you're sharing your experience. I think we all learn a lot in doing this, and it's important to share it to everyone who's interested, and just to get that knowledge out there and know what, if you look in the economy, that small businesses are the mainstay of the U.S. economy. We're the ones running it, not GM, not Amazon. We're the ones contributing the most and making the most impact. Yet we don't have the strength in the politically and all that to reflective of our strength in the economy. And I think most people don't realize how important small businesses are to the U.S. economy. So I think by promoting what we do in entrepreneurship, we can help change that dynamic,
Beautiful. Well, Vanee, just hearing what Dina was mentioning, do you feel as a female Black entrepreneur that sense of giving back, of mentoring young up-and-comers behind you?
Absolutely. And I think I've reiterated this to my Nifty team and just the students around me, because of the passion that I felt from staff. I want to be able to give back in the term of the passion. Like, I believe in you, because it was hard for me to believe in myself. And so any opportunity that I get to coach a student, or anybody really, I'm young, so I'm not gonna, but people younger than me, I would start there and just help them in any way that I can. So absolutely.
Beautiful. And Liz, I already heard in terms of, it's important to see folks like us in the space, people who look like us, who have that same lived experience, that those are the ones that, that we will kind of glam onto. Now, I want to put this out there, because you know what, Liz, all these years, I've been a wage earner. I definitely tip my hat to entrepreneurs, those who said, I don't want to work for anyone. I don't want to work for the man. I want to actually do my thing. I want to follow my passion. What do you say to that person who comes up to you with that particular passion, saying that I want to do my own thing? I believe I have a product and service that's going to change the world.
They'll say, show me your business plan. Show me your Nifty business plan. No, I'm just kidding. But because yes, we all have ambitions. Yes, but yes, I think a big part of Nifty is also to help people give a reality check too, right? Okay, yeah, you have this great business and you have this great idea. Let's talk through, like, How are you going to make it profitable? How are we going to, sell it to your clients and whatnot? And actually, in fact, some kids, when we see on our surveys at the end, like the post assessment, like, do you want to own your own business? People who said yes in the beginning might actually say no. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, right? Because maybe they had all these grand visions, and then they realized after going through the program and seeing like all the finance behind it, all the teams you need to put together, all the work that's involved, that actually, I don't mind working for the man for a little bit, like maybe I'll finish school first and then I'll think back on it, right? And again, our goal is not to make every single person an entrepreneur, but really to equip students to make that choice themselves as well. At least know that they can do it if they wanted to. Give them the tools and the resources that they might need in order to do that if they wanted to. But yeah, if you have a passion, let's work through it. Let's see if it's viable and it's something that you want to make that into your career. But if not, let's find another path also to help you, be sustainable economically as well. And I just wanted to go back real quick, if there's time. Something that Vanee said reminded me that women who go into entrepreneurs have different, at least the research that we've been seeing, have very different motives than why men go into entrepreneurship. And one of the things that make women go into entrepreneurship is to make a difference, like kind of like what Vanee was talking about. So women tend to go into our businesses that are more values driven, and also because of job scarcity, right? Maybe there just isn't a job for you, or it works in your work schedule because you're a working mom or whatnot, right? So those are kind of like the key motivations for why women tend to go into entrepreneurship. Whereas for men, they're more likely to start a business in order to build wealth, or to continue a family tradition, more so than women do. So maybe they have someone in the family who's already an entrepreneur and they're kind of following their footsteps or want to expand the business. So I thought that was interesting just to see, obviously, women can have the same motives as well, but the tendency is a bit different in terms of the motivations by gender.
Gotcha. And a NightWatchman, how we doing, buddy?
We're probably going to have to start wrapping up. I wanted to ask one last question to everybody. If you could tell about something you are excited about for this year and something you are scared about for this year.
Dina, we'll start it off.
Okay. I'm excited to be here. Learning from all of you. I was just on as part of this NASDAQ milestone circle, graduating. One of the perks is you get to be on the NASDAQ tower in Times Square for like a brief few seconds in your circle. So that was a lot of fun for me to
Congrats. Yes.
Yeah. And I'm just excited to continue the journey. I have applied for a National Science Foundation grant in some of the different areas. So I'm keeping fingers and toes crossed that I keep reapplying. So I get the latest version of my pitch. So that's what I'm excited about.
Beautiful. Congrats. My fingers are crossed here too, my dear.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Vanee?
Yeah. For me, I would say up until this point, I've lived my entire life in fear and uncertainty and anxiousness. And so this is the first year that I've made a decision to myself to conquer those fears and do everything that makes me feel uncomfortable, not just in terms of entrepreneurship, but in terms of life development. So I'm excited for that. This year is going to look different. I'm going to travel across the world. I'm gonna go on a cruise and just different things I would have never placed my mind in at this age. But it also, that exact thing scares me because what could happen, right? But hopefully if people see me that follow along my journey, just doing the things that people say you shouldn't be doing or doesn't make any sense, that they'll do it too.
Beautiful. And Liz, what about you?
Yeah. I guess professionally, I'm excited. We're nearing the end of the academic year and we'll be starting up a new one in the summer. Nice. So it's always exciting to start new projects, hopefully building a bigger team. So it's just that freshness of a new academic year is always exciting. Personally, I'm a new mom, so I have a 4-month-old at home. So
congratulations! Yay!
It's both exciting and scary. That's both, like exciting to see him grow up, but scary because first also working remote, and so trying to have that balance like we were talking about is challenging. I'm learning every day, so I'm living it out right now.
Excellent. Well, congratulations, Liz, for sure. And NightWatchman, what do you want to do?
First of all, just thank you all for being here and sharing your insights and experience. And we wish you all the best on your entrepreneurial journeys and your mentorship journeys this year. And just remind people that you are listening to Soul Lounge Primetime on WHCR 90.3 FM, the voice of Harlem. Also live streaming on YouTube and Facebook, and also on all your favorite
we got it all. We got it covered by all.
We're everywhere. Okay. Thanks for joining us. And you can always find us on Monday nights, 7 o'clock on the radio, 8 o'clock live streaming. So come back next week. We've got something real interesting to share with you.
Beautiful. Thank you, guys. Excellent.